Pixel People Pod. Snap, 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 it's on. Rewind the future fraud. The Pixel People Pod.
Tell the DoorDash guy we're recording and we'll pick up that Grinch meal in a little bit. He can wait out front. Oh, hey, we're live. Hey, Jan. Well, hey, Jan. I just ruined our intro, but I'm going to leave it in. It's me, Greg, and say hello, Jan.
Hello, Jan.
Hey, sorry. Coming in hot tonight, but I'm not going to edit that out because that's what makes it fun. Welcome to another edition of the Pixel People Pod. This week's is entitled A Very Special Episode about very special episodes.
It's very special.
Yes. I'm sure everybody of our age knows this. I don't think this is prevalent now because TV's not as prevalent now, but probably started in the 70s, I think I was reading, and it peaked in the 80s and met its zenith by the mid-90s. But TV shows every season or two had to throw in a very special episode. And that meant either somebody died, somebody got hurt, or somebody got molested. That's what you find out when you really look into this. Or, hey, Bob is gay and we never knew it, but we respect him. I found a lot of that. A lot of Golden Girls episodes on somebody coming out of the closet. So that was very interesting. But I left them out because it's true in the 80s. I'd hate to admit that I watched the Golden Girls, but I did. But I'm leaving that out on this episode.
I don't think that makes you less of a man.
No, it doesn't, but there's better ones to go over. So, but before we go over those episodes,
Here we go. Jan's Knowledge News. Jan's Knowledge News.
hit us with that news, Jan.
Today being December 4th. Sad news in music history for December 4th, 1980.
Yeah, I actually know what this is.
Rock legends Led Zeppelin officially announced their breakup. They
Yep.
just couldn't go on after the passing of their iconic drummer John Bonham, who died September 25th, 1980,
One
at
of
the age of 32.
32 and looked like he was 52. The alcohol wore him out. And one thing that I give them credit for is Zeppelin's one of those bands that when a key member died, it's like, that's it, we're done. And you do not see that now. I mean,
No,
the Eagles
they
are
get another lead
like the
singer
Eagles.
or
Not only have
whatever.
kept on going after half the band died, they don't even put the ones that they threw out back in. They just replace them, and now they've been on a retirement tour for 5 years, and it's like, Glenn Frey died, and it was him and Don Henley's band, and Glenn Frey died. All right, why not? We'll put Vince Neil in, or not Vince Neil, Vince Gill. It'd probably been better if Vince Neil go see him. Vince Gill in is
A
like,
little more sloppy.
yeah, just keep on going. Nobody, I mean, the Stones, that's my band, and I'll give them credit. They talked to Charlie Watts, and Charlie Watts had said for years, if something ever happens to me, Steve Jordan's my replacement. Put him in there, do not stop the band. And the Stones are kind of different, but still, Led Zeppelin was like, that's it. You can't replace John Bonham, and they're kind of right. Although they did 30-something years later with Jason Bonham, and they put on one final show. It was great.
But, Robert Plant kept going on his own.
Oh,
Jimmy
yeah.
Page kept going. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not
same-
like they stopped
Right.
all of their music.
But you know how much money they've left on the table by not reuniting as Led Zeppelin and touring? That was 45 years ago. And, I mean, they've been offered, big, I think like they got like $1 billion offer at one point, like 10 years ago, after their one reunion show they had. And they were like, no. They wanted to do it, and Robert Plant says no. Because Plant knew he couldn't sing like that for an entire tour, so he's like, I'm not going to do it. He's kind of been the old man that, accepted his age and stuff and sings appropriate music. And, their one reunion show back in 2008, the Celebration Day show they did, was great with Jason Bonham. And that, I still see people this day saying, oh, maybe they'll get back together. And I'm like, no, don't. They ended with that awesome show.
They ended on a high.
That one show with Jason Bonham where he got to do his dad's music. And if you want to hear Zeppelin now, go see the Jason Bonham Led Zeppelin experience he has, because it's really good.
Strange news coming out of December 4th, 1980. I'd never heard this story. 19-year-old Jean Hilliard was discovered frozen solid in a Minnesota snow after she had crashed her car in negative 22-degree weather. Her heartbeat was 12 beats per minute. They knew she was still alive, but she was so frozen solid that they couldn't even get an IV stuck in her arm.
But
they
that's frozen.
slowly
Yeah.
warmed her back up and brought her back with 0 amputations. She didn't lose any fingers, toes, anything after being froze solid.
I shouldn't laugh, but I think of the Simpsons episode where the one old man, like Jarvis, I can't remember his name, freezes himself and wants to be woken back up in the future. He climbs on a he climbs on a beverage cooler at Apu's store, a Quickie Mart, and then just sits in there. And then like he comes out like 10 minutes later, and he's like, "Well, the future," and he walks over and it's the greatest line of the Simpsons ever: "Moon pie." What a time to be alive. That's what he said. But yeah, that's her. Hey, what? Maybe she survived. What year? When did that happen? What?
December 4th, 1980.
And what day did Led Zeppelin break up?
December 4th, 1980.
Okay, maybe John Bonham on the way out saved that woman's life. The spirit of John Bonham touched that woman and said, "Breathe."
That's what I'm going to choose to believe.
Yeah, John Bonham is that some old lady now that's living? Is that lady still alive now? You know.
Now I don't know, but she did have a full recovery.
By the way, speaking of that, I'm not going to do errors and corrections this week. I'm just going to throw this in. Was it last week or the week before you did the one about the baby who had the liver transplant?
That was last week.
Yeah, and you didn't. You said I said, "Is she still alive today?" That was 25 years ago.
And I was afraid to look to see if
Yeah,
she...
I looked, and she's still alive and kicking. She's living a perfect, healthy life. Got kids of her own. She's fine. So if you got to have a transplant, make it a liver, because apparently it holds on pretty good.
This next piece of history kind of made me chuckle. December 4th, 1980, Prince played the first of his 31-date Dirty Mind North America tour in New York. He had been told by his managers that he couldn't wear spandex pants without underwear. So he performed in a trench coat, black high-heeled boots, and leggings and bikini brief trunks.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of that. I didn't know that's why he played like that.
That's why.
But that, yeah, don't challenge Prince.
No.
We've learned from Charlie Murphy, never challenge Prince. So, and I mean, only Prince could pull that off. And his pants, apparently. I don't know. Anyway, go ahead. Next, please.
December 4th, 1981, Ozzy Osbourne released the single Over the Mountain, which barely even charted and is one of my all-time favorite Ozzy songs.
It's got a great opening drum.
I never understood why it didn't get more acclaim than it did.
Yeah. That's one of the songs that, pretty sure that Ozzy and Sharon got mad because Lee Kerslake and Bob Daisley was wanting credits for their playing on that record, so she went back and pulled it all off and had, it was Mike Borden and the guy that plays bass for Metallica now, Robert Trujillo, who played for Ozzy, and they re-recorded all the drum and bass lines on that song, and people got pissed. I mean, he was like, "You don't mess with original art like that," and she had to backtrack off that and pull those records and put the stuff back on. And it's, yeah, I've looked forever trying to find the re-recorded one to hear how they sound, and they pulled them off so fast, like, you can't find them. So, you know, the good people won out on that one at least.
December 4th, 1981, the long-running drama Falcon Crest premiered on CBS. It ran from 1982 to 1985.
I watched that show. It had Lorenzo Lamas on it. Before he was on what's the show he did in the 90s? I'll have to look that up. That'll be an Arizona. You know, it's
I know
he
what
was
you're
on a
talking
motorcycle and they were fighting crime. God, it's gonna bug the crap out of me. I don't care. I'll fix it next week. I'll do an errors and corrections. Yeah, it was. You had the CBS lineup. I've said before, greatest CBS lineup ever on Friday nights. It used to be the Incredible Hulk, Dukes of Hazzard, and then Dallas. And then when the Incredible Hulk ended, they moved Dukes of Hazzard down to 8. 9 o'clock was Dallas, and 10 o'clock was Falcon Crest.
I wasn't allowed to stay up long enough to watch Falcon
Friday
Crest.
nights, I could watch my shows. We watched that. It was if Mom and Dad let me watch Dallas, we watched Falcon Crest. It was a soap opera.
We didn't normally watch Dallas. December 4th, 1981, the drama On Golden Pond was released.
Never seen it.
I saw it way back in the 80s.
Yeah.
I have not watched it since then.
It's an old person
We
problem.
maybe should
We're
rewatch
old
it.
now, so.
Well, I mean, it had great actors in it.
Yeah.
It had Katharine Hepburn, Henry Fonda,
Yeah.
which was his last acting gig. He
Yeah.
died after
I
that.
think he got some awards for that, I think, too.
Jane Fonda and Dabney Coleman.
Yeah. Well,
So-
Dabney Coleman, you saved it with that, so maybe I'll watch it for Dabney.
December 4th, 1981, The Police released the single Spirits in the Material World
God, I love that
from
song.
the album Ghost in the Machine.
Yeah, it's a great song.
It really makes me want to listen to that album.
Great band.
December 4th, 1981. I'm going to see if you remember this.
Okay.
I know you didn't watch
We
it.
had a lot of stuff in 1980, by the way.
I know.
Yeah.
A lot. I know you didn't watch a lot of MTV, but
I couldn't.
I curious to see if you watch this.
Okay.
December 4th, 1981, the Go-Go's filmed the music video for We Got the Beat at a high school in Los Angeles.
I don't.
You
I'm
remember
sure
watching
I've
that
seen
video?
it, but I don't remember it. You know.
It was actually in a high school,
Oh, okay.
which made it pretty cool.
Yeah. Was it their high school or just a school they? It'd been,
I'm not sure.
if I'd been the band, I'd say we're going back to my high school and playing. I'm gonna say suck
Yeah.
it to the teachers to think I'd make anything. Look, I'm in the Go-Go's now. And they'd be like, "Wow, you're in the Go-Go's. You really did make it because you're the only guy in that band."
December 4th, 1982, the Built for Speed album by the Stray Cats peaked at number 2.
Never was a fan of Stray Cats. I don't know why. Brian Setcher's a great guitar player.
Yeah, I mean, I knew the radio hits, but I don't think
It's
I
that
had any of their
rockabilly stuff.
albums.
I'm just not a big fan of that style. Other than Reverend Horton Heat, I do like Reverend Horton Heat.
December 4th, 1984, Beverly Hills Cop was released. It was the biggest movie of the Beverly Hills Cop series, grossing over $234 million.
Do I go ahead and admit right now that I've never seen that movie?
Yeah, because
Suffer
I'm going to
the
make you
scorn.
watch it.
Suffer the scorn of everyone listening that I've never seen that movie. I've never seen the Beverly Hills Cop movies.
It is worth watching. It's
And I
really
love
good.
Eddie Murphy. I love about everything about Eddie Murphy, but I've just never watched those movies. And I've only seen 48 Hours like once. I need to go and watch all those.
There's a lot of Eddie Murphy movies that I'd like to
Yeah.
rewatch.
Speaking of Eddie Murphy, watch the documentary he has on Netflix. We watched it last week and it's very good.
December 4th, 1985, Young Sherlock Holmes premiered in theaters. I do not remember that
I
movie.
don't remember that one either.
Apparently, it was a pretty big deal.
Only
Not
Sherlock
us.
Holmes I know are the Robert Downey Jr. movies, and they're great. So,
Maybe we need to check one of those out.
Yeah.
Young Sherlock Holmes.
nah.
Well, this next one, we really need to put this on our list because it really intrigued me that I had never watched this.
Okay.
December 4th, 1985, The Runaway Train premiered. Have you ever heard of it?
I've heard of it, but tell us anything about it.
It was set against the harsh Alaskan wilderness. The story follows 2 escaped convicts and a railroad worker as they battle fate aboard an unstoppable locomotive.
Yeah, I've never heard of that movie.
It
I
sounds like something I would like.
I like the song, but I don't know the movie.
Runaway Train.
Yeah, never going back.
They apparently it was pulse pounding, and
Who starred in it? Does it even say? Did you see that?
no, I didn't write that down.
Probably Lorenzo Lamas. He was big in that time.
I don't think it was him though.
Renegade, by the way, it just hit
Renegade.
me. That's the show.
Yes.
See.
Good job, Greg.
Eventually, I'll know every bit of useless information there is.
December 4th, 1987, Belinda Carlisle's single "Heaven Is a Place on Earth" soared to number 1.
Did she play it at her high school?
No, that was only when she was with the Go-Go's.
Oh, okay, yeah. She had a good run in the '80s.
She really did.
She had the beat, and then she found out that beat is here in heaven because it's on earth. So.
December 4th, 1987, 16-year-old Alison Krauss released her debut album, Too Late to Cry. She was backed by her band.
Union Station.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
I saw her at the Merle Fest years ago.
Yep.
Good
All right.
singer, and she going back. Robert Plant. He does a lot of music with her. That's what he does now. Instead of singing for Led Zeppelin, he sings with Alison Krauss. He's had Grammy wins and #1 albums with Alison Krauss since Led Zeppelin, which is wild. You know.
Yep. At least he didn't stop music forever.
No,
At least, it's
he
just
still
the
does
band
Zeppelin
stopping.
songs too now. I saw him doing, I think going to California the other week with his band. He still does them. He just slows them down and does them like acoustic, and he sings them in a lower key, and they still sound good.
December 4th, 1987, The Trouble with Spies was released.
Who was
And
in
I
that?
wouldn't mind watching this one. This one was Donald Sutherland and Ned Beatty.
Yeah, I'll watch that. Speaking of spies, we just watched the other night Spies Like Us.
Yes.
I-
But this movie was actually filmed in 1984, but they didn't release it for 3 years. And I don't know the story behind that.
Mhm.
So it was released in 1987.
Maybe because Spies Like Us. No, Spies Like Us was after that, so I don't know.
So there's 2 movies that we need to watch this weekend.
Okay. Yeah, good luck with that. We got a full weekend. So,
Sadly, on December 4th, 1988, Roy Orbison performed his last concert in Cleveland, Ohio.
Roy Orbison,
Had a heart attack 2
Yep.
days later.
one of
and
the
died.
Wheelberries. So
He was only 53.
Roy Orbison, good guy. Weird how he's the one that had the weird comeback in the '80s. And then he gets into Wilburys, and look at the Wilburys now. All of them are gone except for Jeff Lynne.
I know, and that's very sad.
It,
'cause
no,
I
Bob
love listening to
Dylan
Traveling
and
Wilburys.
Jeff Lynne are still alive, but
December 4th, 1982, the number one song in the U.S. was Truly by Lionel Richie.
yeah,
December 4th,
too
1983,
soft, so.
the number one song in America was Say, Say, Say by Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney.
Yeah, back when they were still friends.
They're not friends anymore?
Well, no, not after he died, but they weren't friends there till the end. You don't know the whole story behind that?
No.
I don't know if it was during making that song or
Ebony and
or
Ivory?
no,
Wait,
no,
is
that's
Tony
Stevie Wonder.
Oh,
Wrong black guy, Jan. No,
wrong
that
duet.
yeah, the other one it was what's the song? You just threw me off. I had it. What's the song that Michael Jackson and him did?
Say, Say, Say.
No, something about a girl. I think the girl is mine. Yeah, yes, the girl is mine. I'm pretty sure. When they were hanging out and friends and everything, Paul McCartney. This is a famous story. Paul McCartney basically was talking about how what you need to do is own your own publishing and your own music. Don't let the record company control your publishing because they can put your music into anything. They can license it without your control. And McCartney and the Beatles have famously lost their publishing, I think, to Spector and their old manager. I'd been Alan Klein that stole the Stone songs earlier. But when their publishing came up for sale like a year or two later, Paul McCartney and Yoko Ono were trying to buy it back. And they lost out to this insanely high bidder, and turned out it was Michael Jackson. He bought the Beatles music. And it's like, yeah, you told me it's a good idea to own it, so I bought y'all's too. And it was like, they didn't talk after that because Paul McCartney's like, I told you I was trying to get my publishing back, and you came in and stole it out under me. And then he just licensed it for all the commercials and stuff. And Michael Jackson, that's kind of dirty, but, he won it fair and square.
Right.
But that was the last you ever heard of them working together. So.
Well, born December 4th, 1984, Jelly Roll.
It's all right.
Your reaction?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the actual Jelly Rolls, not the singer. So,
You'd rather have the cake.
Yeah.
Born December 4th, 1987, Orlando Brown. Actor, rapper, and singer. He was Eddie Thomas in That's So Raven. That's what I know him from.
I don't know.
You might know him from Major Payne, Family Matters, or Two of a Kind.
I have to look him up. I don't know that name, but I'm sure I'd know my face if I saw him. So,
And there you have Jan's Gnarly News.
Oh, gnarly!
thank you, Jan. Great news as always. I have to be thinking about. I'm not going to listen to Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney tomorrow, though. Maybe Paul McCartney. No, I'll listen to some Beatles on the way to work tomorrow. That'll get me pepped up.
Listen to this soundtrack from On Golden Pond.
No. We'll be driving in bad weather tomorrow. I don't want it to put me to sleep. So
Maybe you
brings-
won't slide into a golden pond.
So, ice pond. Yeah, that brings us to the topic for tonight, which is very special episodes of 80s television. And I went through and looked up a lot of stuff. And I think about every sitcom or something in the 80s had a very special episode. But I pulled off 8 or 9 here. And just random sitcoms, just to throw out there what they were like. And the first one is like the one that everybody talks about. And it's Different Strokes episode from season 5, episodes 16 and 17. It was a 2-parter in 1983 called The Bicycle Man. And this is the one that got me on it because I'd watched a Funny or Die video. And if you want some fun and to kill some time sometime, go on YouTube and look up the Funny or Die very special episodes. And they do like a 3 or 4 minute synopsis on almost every 80s very special episode. And they're hilarious. Even this one, which is a very serious topic, they make it funny. And
Whoever writes those is
Yeah.
brilliant.
yeah. And, well, we'll get into that. In this episode, Mr. Horton, the bike shop owner in town, who is played by Gordon Jump, who was the big guy, Arthur Carlson in WKRP, one of my favorite TV shows of all time, which is so weird.
It's very strange seeing
Yeah.
him in this role.
Yeah. Is the creepy...
The creepy bicycle guy.
Yeah. So he's the bike shop owner. Arnold is in there wanting a new bike. And, of course, Mr. Drummond is, like, filthy rich, a gazillionaire. They live in, like, a penthouse in Manhattan, but he's like, sorry, Arnold, you got to wait till Christmas to get this bike. And so I think they even put it on layaway or something like that. But the bicycle man's like, oh, you can come over here and I tell you what, you can earn some money to buy that bike if you can help. If you give out these pamphlets to people about my bike shop, and I'll even give you this radio. If you give out enough, you can win this radio. He's like, you're a good kid, and you keep working with me, and good things will happen to him. So he ends up getting his friend Dudley involved. Arnold does.
Because Arnold can't give away the flyers.
Yeah, Arnold's not a good salesman, but Dudley, boy, he can sell it. So he's giving out the flyers, talking to kids, hey, you got to go get your bikes at the bike shop with Mr. Horton. When they both come back and they realize, hey, you've driven a lot of kids and sales to me like that. Come on in, kids. Have some ice cream. And he gives them ice cream. And then he starts hinting around like, you got to see the synopsis. But it's like, hey, kids, you can do a lot of fun stuff when you're naked. And it's like, and
It just jumps right in.
yeah, these are kids. And the crazy thing is, whoever's in charge of every stroke decided, let's put the laugh track in this episode. Even though it's about a kid touching, let's put a loud laugh track to everything everybody in this episode says. And when you watch that Funny or Die video, they have Arnold saying some very sexual innuendo stuff as jokes. And it's like, wow, that's on purpose too. I'm sorry. Those jokes, when you see it, the writers were having some serious fun with this episode when they shouldn't be, because I'm not even getting into some of the jokes he made, but you got to see it. Some of these jokes are like over the top. They would never put them on TV now, but they did on that episode. So he starts slipping them, like puts porn in some of his comic books for them to stumble upon, and then later on he starts giving them wine, and so the kids come home drunk and nobody says anything, So they go back the next day and he ends up showing them dirty cartoons and all this stuff, and anyway, he gets Dudley to stick around, and Arnold's like, I'm getting out of here. So Arnold goes home, and they're like, why have you been drinking? And he ends up telling what happened. And then Dudley's dad comes over and goes, hey, man. Hey,
why'd you get my kid
yeah,
drunk?
Mr. Drummond, quit giving my kid alcohol. Like, look, you're a good dude, but how about next time don't give my, 9-year-old alcohol? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm not giving him alcohol. So they go in there and save right before the guy's probably going to ruin Dudley for life. And he gets arrested, and of course the cops show up, and then, at the end, watch your children and don't let them hang out with these creepy guys. But the craziest thing about that episode is the laugh track just blasting every joke. I mean, even when the creepy pedo guy says something, they start putting a laugh track in there. It's creepy.
He talks Dudley into taking his shirt off. And
Yeah,
there's
like,
a laugh track.
Yeah, look. Yeah, you really flexing really good. Hey, look at you. Yeah. And one time, the one that right off the bat, I'm like, yeah, this is inappropriate. Is Arnold? They gives him ice cream. Arnold, he says, can you eat this ice cream? And Arnold's like, I can work my tongue faster on the ice cream than any hummingbird. And they're like, oh my. And then you hear, ha ha ha, the laugh track. It's like, what is wrong with you writers? You people are messed up. But there was several very special episodes of Different Strokes. There's one where Nancy Reagan and Mr. T come in and talk about the DARE program and, don't do drugs. And there's another one where, I forget the daughter's name on there. She gets kidnapped and almost gets assaulted. And it's like they had to throw one in like every 2 seasons. We gotta bring it down here, but leave the laugh track in. It was crazy. But
That was the shock value of the 80s.
yeah. But I remember watching this one when it aired as a kid. I remember that. I watched Different Strokes as a kid, and I remember this episode because even at that age, that was 83, so I was 11, but I'd watched WKRP since I was a little kid. I loved WKRP. Even as that started in 79, so I was 7 years old, but I was watching WKRP and loving it. So it was so weird to see, Mr. Carlson as the creepy kid toucher, but there he was. The next one I brought up was Silver Spoons, Season 2, Episode 20, Spare the Rod, from 1984. I remember this episode too, but I'm pretty sure I saw it in syndication years later. Ricky discovers his friend Toby is being physically abused by his father. And I remember that because they're playing, and he's like, oh my God, how'd you get that big bruise in your arm? Oh, I fell. And then later on, it's like, how'd you get that cut on your arm? Oh, I fell down the stairs. And why'd you get that black eye? Oh, I tripped. And he come to find out that his dad's abusing him. And when they confront his dad, he's like, yeah, I was beaten as a kid too. That's how it was, my dad. And they're like, no, you can't do that to your kid. You can't beat your kid. So instead of calling DSS something like, promise us you won't beat him again. I'm like, okay, I won't. Everything's going to be okay. And so they issue him a warning, and he faces no charges. But he won't do it again because now I learned from these rich people that it's not good to beat your kid. And
Lesson learned.
Right. So I did see the show was noted for its handling of the child abuse issue, including a public service announcement at the end of the episode. several of them always at the end of the show broke character and had them talking about, if this affects you, call this number or something like that. So one I got after that was Growing Pains, Second Chance, Season 4, Episode 20, 1989. Snuck right in under it, which doesn't matter on this because we got one from 1990 coming up.
I loved watching Growing Pains.
Yeah, I did too, but it don't hold up now. I've saw clips and watched it, and I was like, I don't think I could sit through that again. It doesn't hold up. But in this one, and this is kind of weird that this one tied in when I was looking into it, because after Carol disobeys Maggie and Jason by sneaking out to a bar with her college-age boyfriend Sandy, she learns a valuable lesson when Sandy gets into an accident and ends up in the hospital. And Sandy, her boyfriend, who's in college, I think she's still in high school in this episode, was played by Matthew Perry. And his name was brought up in the news this week because his doctor that gave him all that ketamine got sent to prison for a couple of years. But they're like, oh, he's in a bad car wreck. He was drinking, but he's going to be okay, thank God. And you should know better. Sneaking out, shouldn't do that. But luckily, Sandy's going to be okay. And, hey, that's the end. But no, they get a phone call near the end. Oh, my God. Sandy died from internal bleeding.
Oh.
That's what happens when you drink and drive. You die. That's the lesson. So, lesson learned, don't drink and drive, people, or you might die of internal bleeding. The end.
I wonder, though, how many kids may have really been affected and their lives changed because they saw some of these episodes.
Oh, yeah. Well, I stayed away from the bike shop after that. I know that. But I didn't drink or drive. I mean, they pushed that. That was... It was our generation that first got that drilled in our heads. Is drinking and driving is not good. Mad mothers gets drunk driving.
And this is your brain on drugs.
You think about it. Let me tell you something. This is the truth. I love root beer, and I loved in the 80s IBC root beer. It's not as good now because they've been bought out and it's not as good. But IBC root beer, and all my friends here know, Rodney, Todd, everybody, we all drank it at some point. IBC root beer looked like a real beer bottle, and I would buy it in the store, and drink it. And I remember driving in my Volkswagen, drinking a cold one time, and thinking, cop might see me and think I'm drinking a beer, and I would put it down. Like, I don't want nobody to think I'm drunk driving. That's how paranoid I was about drunk driving. Even somebody see me with a root beer bottle that looked like a beer bottle, I might get pulled over.
And that probably all stemmed from a
it
80s Growing Pains episode.
It was from Sandy dying. Yeah, I was like, Matthew Perry died. Sandy, but... that our generation was first to really have that drilled in us, because think about that. Before Mad pushed all that, people would just pick a 6-pack up and crack one open and drink a couple on the way home, and nobody thought anything about it. I mean, think about how weird that is. I mean, earlier episode of this show, I talked to Janlin about how we could bring guns to school and kids were smoking, and even back then, before it really got a real push, you can chug a few beer in your car on the way home. I had a rough day at work. I can drink a couple of Natural Lights. Not anymore. Thank you, Matthew Perry. The next episode is another one, Family Ties. Now that one, I would like to go back and watch some of those, see if it holds up, because it was a great show. I remember watching it religiously when it came out.
I like that one too.
Yep, this one, and I watched this one when it aired because I remembered a lot about this episode. Season 2, Episode 14 from 1984, Say Uncle. And in this episode, good old Uncle Ned comes to stay with him for a while. And Uncle Ned is played by Tom Hanks. So he was the guy I knew from like sitcoms then and stuff. And he wasn't Tom Hanks now. He was just getting started, but I remembered him being in this episode. He shows up and his brother gets him a job interview. And so everyone is thinking, good old Uncle Ned. But then things start having to realize Uncle Ned may have a drinking problem. And it becomes obvious when he blows off the job interview they had him and doesn't get the job. Late night, Alex, Michael J. Fox, goes down to get something to drink, and he sees Uncle Ned hanging out down there. And Uncle Ned's drank every bit of booze in the refrigerator, and he's looking for more. And this is what always stood out to me on this episode. And it's on YouTube. Look it up. He starts rummaging through the cabinets and looking for anything with alcohol in it, and he finds a bottle of vanilla extract and tells Alex, hey, man, this will get you going, and chugs a whole bottle of vanilla extract because apparently there's alcohol in it. And I don't know if that's true or not.
Who knew?
I don't know. I mean, I guess we're going to dig through some...
Maybe the good stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to dig through your baking stuff when this episode's over.
Well, I use imitation vanilla extract,
that's right, yeah.
so good luck.
And he also grabs a bottle of maraschino cherries out and dumps them on a big glass and is going to chug it. When Alex tells him, come on, man, you got a drinking problem. good old Uncle Ned, who's on a bender, don't like being told got a drinking problem by Alex P. Keaton, and slams him, throws him up against and hurts him. And that's when he realizes, I may have a problem. He finally admits that problem and he gets the help. Hey, good things happen if Alex P. Keaton's around to tell you you got a problem. That one, I do remember that episode when it aired. It's one of the more famous ones. And Tom Hanks, really now you watch it back, you realize that's Tom Hanks. That's one of the biggest actors ever. And Michael J. Fox, a lot of stuff came off that show, but it's just funny to see that him before, I guess this was right after, what's the show we talked about the other day? Bosom Buddies? Yeah, it's right after that, around his bachelor party time, the movies where he's just
Big.
getting known.
When
Big,
was
yeah,
Big?
probably 80, it's probably a year or two after that. But so this next one, I remember seeing it probably after school one time when it was airing in syndication. And I can't figure out, and I was going to look up today and I forgot the pronunciation of this, but it's apparently one of the girls on Punky Brewster. The name of the episode, Season 2, Episode 16, 1986, Cherry Lifesaver. I assume Cherry is the girl's name, or it could be Cherie. I don't know. It's Cherie. I know that's not Cherry, but maybe Cherie Lifesaver. I don't know. I don't know what her name is, but I'm going to call her Cherry because it's funnier that way. And I do remember this one. I know some people that from the 80s have to remember this. In this episode, good old Henry, his refrigerator quits, and he goes and buys a new one, and he's like, what am I going to do with this old fridge? Let me just throw it out here in the backyard. I'll get to it later. Punky and all her friends are out there playing one day. It's like, let's play hide and seek. So they all go running around, and Cherry decides, hey, you know where I should hide out? This abandoned refrigerator. Nobody's going to find me in this abandoned refrigerator. And she climbs in it. Well, what we've been taught since we were a kid. Don't climb in an abandoned refrigerator because there's no oxygen in it. Although we did find out years later in one of the worst Indiana Jones movies that you can survive a nuclear blast if you climb in an abandoned refrigerator, because he did. But she gets in, and then as she climbs in, of course, she finds out, hey, there's no oxygen in here, and blacks out. Punky and her friends eventually find her, but she's unconscious. So here's the luck of the draw here. The day before at school, Punky and all her friends were taught how to do CPR in case you might need it one day.
How
Thank
convenient.
God. Yes, thank God. So they do CPR on her and save her life. The lesson learned here is fridges are only a good hiding place if your friends know backyard CPR. Good old Punky Brewster. I did watch that show some.
I did too.
I don't think it would hold up now. And it's Cherry, Cherie. I'll look it up. I'll throw it on errors and corrections next week. This brings us to the next episode. Mr. Belvedere, the Counselor, Season 4, Episode 9. So before I get into this episode, if you want some fun, go to YouTube, look up either Bob Uecker, Mr. Belvedere Balls, or
Okay.
or Doug Benson, Mr. Belvedere. There's a funny story about something that happened to the actor that played Mr. Belvedere on the set of one of the episodes. And I can't tell you what it is. You've got to experience this for yourself. But trust me, it's a great
I'm
story.
intrigued.
It's a great story. I'll tell you after the show.
Okay.
So anyway, so Wesley, the little boy in the show, of course, everybody loved Mr. Belvedere. You should know Wesley. So I didn't watch a whole lot of Mr. Belvedere. But at that point, this was 88. I was in high school, and I wasn't watching a lot of the, fun after-school sitcoms like that.
I was watching MTV.
Yeah. So I was working. So Wesley goes off to a summer day camp, but he really isn't keen on the idea. So while he's there, he fakes an illness to get out of a nature hike and is left in the care of Counselor Perry, which is a lot of Perry in this episode.
Yep.
Perry takes Wes scuba diving and then gets a little handsy with him when he's trying to dry him off, which, much like, I think Perry used to run a bicycle shop and he left. And he says, hey, if you shut your mouth, what I did, I'll give you this pair of fancy binoculars. And Wes takes him, and then he's not really buying to it, and he tells his adults. And they all, take care of business. And then at the end of the episode, all the show regulars stop, break character, and address the television, imploring people to watch who you leave your kids with. You better watch it. Don't leave your kids with creepy camp counselors or bicycle men.
How sad is it that we had to have the sitcoms tell
Yeah.
us stuff like that?
Well, back then, think about it. Nobody really expected that to happen that much like it does now. I don't think. I think people are more trusting of people. You shouldn't be. Because I got a feeling it was just as bad back then as it is now, but people, were afraid to tell it. Now kids will rat you out, which is good,
Right.
Here's a little bit of trivia. At the end of every Mr. Belvedere episode, I did know this. He wrote in a journal, dear journal, whatever. So this is the only episode of Mr. Belvedere that he does not write a note in his diary. So they also had another very special episode later on. Me and Jan watched it on the Funny or Die, where Wesley's friend got AIDS. So that was all the kids are like, "Ooh, you shared a spoon with him, you're gonna die." So then
You
comes
sat at a table with him.
yeah, you
You're
sat at
gonna
a
die.
table with that AIDS kid, you're gonna die. And then they had to tell him, you don't die from sitting at a table with an AIDS kid. They had to, which that one probably was more needed, I think, at that point than the handsy camp counselor thing, because AIDS back then, nobody knew what to expect,
Right.
So this brings us to my last two for this week, and they're my two favorite. So this one is WKRP in Cincinnati, episode entitled In Concert, Season 2, Episode 19, 1980. This one is based on a true story, and it's the radio station was promoting a concert by The Who, and so they were all excited. They had worked their way up, from the last place radio station in town. They're working their way up a little bit. They're promoting this. They put money in. They're promoting this concert. The Who, the big band, The Who, So they're all excited. Well, you find out after the show, they're pretty tore up because back then you had festival seating. What festival seating was, which we don't realize now as our generation because we didn't really have this. Festival seating was, okay, we've got a stadium here that holds 50,000 people, right? Tickets are $10 a piece. Here you go.
Go sit whatever you
Yeah.
want.
Open the doors and hang on because people are rushing to the front. And this was the culmination of years of festival seating. Fans were
I can remember in the 80s going to concerts that were general admission.
general admission, but it wasn't, I don't think they let you just rush in like a madhouse like they did back then, like especially stadiums and stuff. They crushed, a bunch of fans got crushed to death, died. So at the next
That's
day,
normally what
Yeah.
crushed to death means.
I think Lemmy said it best, killed by death. Yeah. So the next day, all the people at the station are all tore up and talking about the tragic events and the bad side of festival seating and how this affects them in the entire city. It's a very somber episode. This was centered around the deadly gate rushing incident that occurred in Cincinnati prior to the December 3rd, 1979 performance by The Who at Riverfront Coliseum. So less than a year from this show playing, a year before, this actually happened. So they based this on it. There was 11 weeks before that episode aired, and 11 fans were actually crushed to death at a Who concert in Cincinnati. And so they based this episode on that. But they have changed a lot of stuff like that now. Now, you can't even forget it. Now even if you bought front row seats, you can't afford it. And the bots take them all up anyway. So nobody's front row unless you're a filthy gazillionaire who just mortgage your house to get a seat up front. So concerts are ruined now.
Not to mention, if there's people that don't show up, you can't go sit in their seat because you get ran out of their seat.
Yeah.
They're very strict on seating now.
Yeah, which is why we've sort of relegated ourselves to only concerts we'll go see anymore, unless it's the Stones or something, is we go to the Newton Performing Arts Center here in Newton, North Carolina, and watch an old 80s hair band that come here and play for $50 a ticket. But we
Back
show
home by
up,
10.
we've got our specific seats we buy for every show, the back row center on the bottom level.
Don't tell people.
Yeah. No, these are the worst seats in the house. Don't even think about it. But we sit back there, watch the bands, leave, hit the drive-through at McDonald's, and are at home in bed by 10 o'clock at night. It's a great time to be us right now because we have Bullet Boys concert coming up. We've seen all the hair bands coming around here that are still going. Yeah, this brings me to the last one on this list. And I cheated a little bit because this is actually a 1990 episode. It's Saved by the Bell, Jesse's song. And it's season 2, episode 9, 1990. I only put this on here so I could play an audio clip because it cracks me up. So Jesse's the girl. Not Jesse's girl, but Jessie the girl in there. She turns to taking over-the-counter drugs as a result of the pressure with midterms and her singing group, ignoring Slater's warning that the pills can be addictive. When Jessie has a breakdown, Zach counsels her performance and calms her down. She undergoes counseling and accepts the fact that no one can be good at everything. She's on drugs, right?
Over-the-counter drugs.
Over-the-counter drugs, yeah. Because originally, this show, she was going to be on speed, methamphetamine. And
They rethought that.
Yeah, the producers, everybody's like, and the TV people were like, let's not put her methed out on this show. So they switch it to no-dose caffeine pills. she's addicted to caffeine pills.
Same.
She finally has a breakdown, as you'll hear.
Pills? You mean you really are taking drugs?
I need them.
Jesse, give me those.
I need them, Zach. I have to sing.
Jesse, you can't sing tonight.
Yes, I can. I'm so excited. I'm so scared.
Poor Jesse. That caffeine. This is before it made me laugh. This every time I see that scene, it makes me laugh.
Did you look up how much caffeine is in those pills?
Yeah, it's like cup coffee. It's not that much. I used to take them when I was going to college to get through a project because I would push. They would get when I was in advertising design, as Jan knows, because she was taking the same thing at a different school at the same time. I don't know how it was at your school, but they would say, okay, come up with a billboard layout and a magazine layout and a logo for a company. You have. This is a Monday. You have till next Tuesday, and we're going to all show our presentations. So we had a week to do this. So what did I do?
He waited till the night before.
Yeah, me and my buddy Chris would be like, why are you suckers working on your stuff in here? We would leave and go all over Hickory, North Carolina looking for NASCAR collectibles, hanging out. I'd go to work early. We didn't care. Then that Saturday, I'd be home going, I got to come up with a whole big project by Tuesday. And I would stay. I literally did this. This is the hand of God. So I remember one Friday night starting at like 8 o'clock at night and just not sleeping. And I was taking no-dos and sitting in my room drawing and working on it all the way through Saturday. And I'd box of no-dos.
I'm surprised you started that early.
Yeah, I know. But it was no-dos, And think about this. This was before energy drinks. If they did this show now, you get laughed at. I mean, everybody laughs at that scene now, but you get laughed out of the house now at this because, oh, wow, you guys get just kids drink 4 times that much caffeine and energy drinks in a day now. I see that. I call it a GIF. It's a GIF. GIF, animated GIF. But it's GIF. I call it animated GIF. I see that online all the time with Jesse. I'm so excited. It makes me laugh so much. And when I was looking through these, and that was the one I was like, I don't care if it's 1990. It's going right here just so I can play that clip. Let's play that clip one more time.
Pills? You mean you really are taking drugs?
I need them.
Jesse, give me those.
Taking drugs.
I have to sing.
Jesse, you can't sing tonight.
I'm so excited.
I'm so
I'm gonna harmonize.
I'm
So excited. I'm so scared.
scared.
Poor Jesse. And those pills, let me tell you something, kids, don't do drugs because those pills turned to harder stuff, and then she did Showgirls. So,
Oh.
actually, I love that movie, but for different reasons than the acting. We'll get to that later. So, anywho, that concludes our episode on very special episodes. One reason why I did this, I had this idea a couple weeks ago, was Chris. We was going to have Chris back on this week, the Podfather, Chris. He's healing up from his surgery, and he'll talk about it next week. But my idea was do a very special episode of the Pixel People Pod, and Chris would be back that week, and I was going to play, I had this intro music set up, but he's going to come next week on our episode on 80 songs we never want to hear again. So he's actually working right now. He said he'll start researching tonight on the songs that he's going to have for his next week. But I got a feeling there's a couple songs that all of us and you listeners would have on your list of the 80 songs you'd be happy if you'd never heard again. It's going to be really fun next week. That was this week's episode, and remember, life is a very special episode in itself.
Well, isn't that special? Shine on.
The Pixel People Pod.